Week 20, kindergarten, continuation of our animal unit. We're going to use live animals today to do our activities. I have a tray of something called super worms that the kids will be able to handle safely. I have a tray of night crawlers that are safe for kids to handle. And I have an aquarium of goldfish that's very safe for the kids to handle. I just really want them to make some good observations of these animals. One of the first things we're going to do is pick one up and put it on a tray here. And a good activity is to see how long it is. You know, we have these new rulers now with these inchworms. So it might take two of them to hold him down to see how long he is. Make sure that when you're measuring, he's going to be hard to measure. Well, he's at least 2 inchworms long because he crawled on the ruler. So they can either snap these together and get their 2 and lay it on that ruler. And then I gave them this little worksheet will look better when you see it. I just wrote this out real quick. We're going to start with number 1 inchworm. How long is he? And he's 2 inchworms long. Then what I want him to do, now he's being cooperative being on the ruler. I want him to keep him on the white tray because white makes a good background. Use their hand lens. And I've never done this with a video camera, but it works pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and focus my camera here. I want them, I'm counting the legs on him. I see light marks and dark marks. I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate to you. This is hard to do because I'm holding my camera. You actually take your lens and go down and look at him like this. Hope that came out. So what I'm observing also, you can kind of trap him under that lens so he can't run away from you. You can make better observations. So they can use it that way also. They're not going to hurt these worms. I notice, I'm going to get real close, I hope, that he has a really black head. And I'm counting those legs. 1, 2, 3, and 2 little antennae. So I'm going to take my pencil and come over here. And first of all, I'm going to make him a black head. And they can do this with their pencil. I see 2 little antennae. And let them count those legs. It's all right if it takes a while to count those little legs. What's really hard is me holding this camera and marking on this paper. And then I see dark bands and light bands. And of course they don't have to have it just like that. It's whatever kindergarten can do. So let's look at him. You know, I want to look real quickly at his tail end. Does he have anything about his tail I didn't notice? Yeah. I'm sorry. Camera's not on him. Look at that tail. It's dark on the end. So I'm going to come over here, find my tail end, and color it in dark. And I'm through with Mr. Superworm. I have one escaping right there. You know, these were all cheap things I bought at a pet store. You can get them all at PetSmart. Enough for everyone to do an animal, put their hands on it. I'm going to move over here. I'm going to get me a big night crawler. Yeah, they're gushy. Yeah, they're cold. Yeah, they won't hurt you. And now, I really want to, I'm going to set my camera down for a minute because I really want to get the dirt off of him. So I'm going to strip him down of his dirt, put the dirt back. We don't want to pull him in half. That's everybody has the wrong conception of worms. thinking you can pull them in half and they're going to make it. They're really not. You're going to pull apart their body, and you're not going to make 2 worms. That is wrong information. So there is definitely a head end on this worm. I'm really trying to focus so that you can see it. He has an enlargement on this end, and then this is his tail end, which is pointed. Now he doesn't have, and the kids should notice, he doesn't have any legs. I'm trying really hard to get my camera here. He is not an insect. Whereas this animal is going to turn into an insect. He's going to turn into a beetle later on. But this worm is an invertebrate. He doesn't have any bones. He doesn't have any shell or crust on him, like a land crab or something. He's just a little invertebrate. Very simple. I want him to use that magnifying. I know I'm making a terrible video, and I'm sorry. But I'm going to use that magnifying glass. Again, I'm going to show you how to get down close. Really look at that thing. Now, he might be hard to measure. It actually might be easier than that old super worm. So let's go ahead and pull him over here. He's kind of cold, so he's not moving too much. Now, let him put down their blocks here and see how many they can connect together to get that old worm. You know that old gushy dirt is not going to hurt them. So when these are locked together, it's probably going to take 5 on him. So again, I gave you a spot to record his length. By now, kindergarten ought to be able to do this. And he was 5 inch worms long, which actually is an inch also. So let's get some observations. They can color him. They can make stories about him. You know, let me talk a minute about the humane treatment of animals in the classroom. You need to stress to kids that any type of inhumane treatment of an animal, whether it's a worm, one of these super worms, a fish, anything, they'll be in trouble for it because that's inhumane treatment of animals. And I didn't buy them for them to mistreat, so you need to emphasize that before the class starts. You'll see a lot of boys that want to pinch them in half because that's what their daddies do to fish with them. But we're not going to do that. I need these to last all week long for all of the kids, and they will if you'll take care of them. It's really fun to watch how he moves. He actually pulls himself along with that front half of his body. He doesn't have feet, so he's just pulling himself with that big old muscle. See how he's coming through there, kind of like a snake does, except a snake has a backbone and ribs, and that's how he pulls himself. But you'll see the movement's different from these little inchworms. They don't move the same. They're moving with their little legs. The inchworm's just oozing his body along. See how he's stretching it out, trying to find a place to go that he enjoys. And we've got some escapees over here. And there'll probably be a lot of screaming and hollering. There's one here that's really wanting to learn. So, let's move to the fish. What can we do with fish in the classroom with kindergarten? We can take our magnifying glass and we can kind of look at them through that magnifying glass, and we can count their fins. They're kind of hard to keep up with, so I'm just going to take my magnifying glass away. I see their fins. What about their tail? How's it shaped? I didn't draw any eyes on my fish. I didn't draw any gills on my fish. All I want them to do on that outline is put what they observe. So I don't exactly know what kindergarten is capable of in their drawing, but I left it blank so they could put some eyes. I think if they get down here sideways, I can get my iPad low enough. Let me pull my tray up here. They should be able to see those gills working, which is how the fish gets oxygen out of the water. a better view this way. So basically, we're just observing different types of animals. A fish is a cold-blooded animal. He has scales. He has a backbone. He has little ribs. We all know that because we've eaten fish bones. So they just need to really look at him carefully. You kind of see how his eyes poke out on the side. You'll see that his mouth stays open all the time and closing because they are filter feeders. Also, fish are taking in the water, pushing it over their gills. The oxygen is coming out at their gills and going into their not lungs, but their air sac that way. They're able to swim back and forth because they have an air bladder in them that they can let air in and out of. That's why they can go different depths. They can swim backwards, forwards. Just let the kids observe them. Make a story out of them. You know, once upon a time I was a fish or maybe you want to be a worm. Or maybe you want to be a super worm. Super worms are really crawling big time. That's what's going to be our lesson.